Hi, Amy. Hi, Sarah. Hi, Amber. I will go ahead and get started in 1 second. Let me turn off my white stripes. Well, I am Andrea Reynolds. I am a 5th grade teacher in Metro Atlanta, Georgia, and I am not feeling that well. I don't know if it's allergies or what. So I don't know why my eyes are so red. I'm red all day. So I'm going to make this a quick one. I teach science and social studies, as you guys know, and as much as I would love to just talk about social studies, I am going to share something that I did in science today because I got the idea after my new social studies blab show yesterday. We were talking about interactive notebooks, and Emily Berryhill suggested I did the Windows notes, sorry. She suggested Alphaboxes, and I was like, wait a minute. I said, if I've tried been in staff development, heard of Alphaboxes, but I've never used them. And I was like, why have I never used those? And so I did today. And all I did was I found one on Pinterest last night. I posted on my Facebook page. And then today I was like, I don't have time to look for that one. So I just went on Teachers Pay Teachers and I searched for a free one. And guess what? I picked the one that I thought was the prettiest for the free one. So let me show you the one that I don't even remember the name of the seller that it came from. But all I did was just search for free Alphaboxes, and it had purple at the header, and I left in the comments. I was like, I picked this because your top of it was very eye-catching. So I want to show you how I used that today because I used it for science, and I asked my kids, I was like, who's ever done this before? And only a few of them said they had, and someone said they'd done it for like American Revolution, and I had done a project, so my Civil War project had an ABC book for that, so it's like, oh, that's kind of like the ABC book that some of you made. But and like I said, I found this on Teachers Pay Teachers. This is not mine, and this original, I remembered about this idea from Emily Berryhill, so I don't want to sound like I did not invent this, and I really, to be honest, I don't like the font that this person chose, but in the heat of the moment, it worked because some of the kids were like, what is that letter? But the top was pretty. So I used it for microscopes, which it sounds really weird. I know, but this teaching microscopes is killing me. It is killing me. So I have made up a STEM project for it. I made up, that's my plans for tomorrow. I'm doing my jigsaw I did last week with social studies. I'm doing the jigsaw with these people tomorrow for science. It's like, how I'm supposed to teach microscopes instead of spending the whole entire block on Roaring 20s. I don't think so. So anyways, I went the wrong direction. There is one of my kids in action writing down something in the boxes, and we talked about how whatever they write down has to relate to the topic. We're not writing apple, boy, cat. We are writing something with microscopes. And I asked them why they thought we might. I said, why do you think Ms. Reynolds might be using this strategy? And of course, my first class, they're my gifted learners, my higher learners. And so we do a lot of our little character building pep talks there. And one of them said, because you want us to be creative. And I was like, yes, that's exactly why. Because I said, you have to really think outside of the box, because I told them when I did this in a staff development, I wanted to fill in every single box. And, some of your kids aren't going to care, but me, I'm that kid. I was like, I want something in every single box. So to really think creatively. And I said some of the things could be a phrase instead of a word that starts with it. And there was something that started with an X and a Z for microscopes. So some of them went back and looked in their notebook at their microscope diagram, which I was like, oh, hallelujah. They remembered something was in their notebook. So, and they just started putting the parts for, we were watching some clips today because we had a short class period because of, we had to do practice standardized testing, which stunk, but I won't even get into that. So, when we watched the clips about some of the scientists real quick, this is the way to hold them accountable. And, like he wrote arm, body tube, blah, blah, core snob, and he even drew pictures. So I like how he did his, and said how you could have more than one thing in each box. So if you haven't tried that, it's kind of a good idea to use in any time, because at the beginning of a unit, if they do have some prior knowledge, I mean, maybe you could try it out. But, like if I were just going to randomly talk about the Great Depression, even though they talked about it in 3rd grade, they might not have been able to list anything for it. But with microscopes, we've been talking about it for like a week and a half, so they were able to do this. But you could use it as a to see what their prior knowledge is on a topic. Because then, you know, if they have everything filled in, you wouldn't need to use it. It's definitely a great summary strategy. And for X, we came up with like times 10, because that's what the lenses do. They multiply things times 40 times whatever. And Z was easy. Z was zoom. Okay, so that's one strategy. And I did not modify that at all for my other classes. I think because I do have 5th grade, but you could go through and model one of these with your class about a topic. And I would definitely do that. Oh, yeah, definitely. And they also have a science special, so they had done microscopes with her. That's why I'm like, you don't do all your labs and experiments there, because you're not doing them here. No, I did do edible cells. Okay, now this is the Windows notes that I keep talking about all the time, and I want to explain what it is and where it comes from. It's always, darn it, that was supposed to be slideshow, not, I pressed the wrong button. Okay, it's supposed to be facts, feelings, questions, connections, or ideas. Okay, that's what it is. Facts, feelings, questions, ideas, or connections. And I do these for social studies, every single thing for social studies. And I did a Louis Armstrong brain pop at the end of class today, because I was like, I got to do something. And they're like, can we make a Windows notes? And I was like, yeah, when you get your notebook back. So, because I got to grade their social studies notebooks. But, anyways, they're used to it, and they want to make one now. And here's where this all stems from. Okay, it is a strategy that I learned about my gift endorsement, and this is the boring page from that just like makes it cut and dry. It talks about, you know, why they should do it. It's for note taking and reflection, and it has to do with learning styles. And we did a survey. Like I said, and I think I did explain this in one of my blog posts about the Christmas task rotations. And I'm going to post these. Tania and several other people that watched my blog yesterday, they're like, you should post these. I was like, it took 5 minutes to make, you know, for some of them, but I'm going to post them. But I want to show you this website. We did a survey. Of course, it crashed. Awesome. We did a survey my very first day of class on this website, thoughtfulclassroom.com, to figure out what our learning style was and what our teaching style was. And each one of those boxes represents those styles. And I'm sure that the county paid for people to do the survey, but I think you could probably, figure this out based on looking what it was. So, okay, so what you're going to see is what mine was. And this tells you if you are like the mastery. This is not the INFJ one. This is a different one. Of course, my internet is being slow. Story of my life. Bane of my existence. Come on. But you can kind of see, all right, I did this in September. This is my teaching style. And I am completely backwards wired from almost 99% of other teachers. So that is mine. That's the mastery box. That's the feelings box. That's the connections box. And that's the under questions box. So it's pretty interesting when you realize, and I explained what these were to my kids. I didn't show them this, but I explained what it was, and I was like, what you can do with the Windows notes is you can have the kids just fill out like one box at a time. You can say, okay, for this one, I want you to pick one box, whichever one you think is most like you. And a lot of my gifted learners, they're the connect box or the reactions box, okay? They're not this. This is the one where that is not me at all. I am not facts and figures. And so I was like, whichever one speaks to you, you know, you respond to this with that box. And so that's kind of how you can use it. Or, I do have them write things in all four. Now, for microscopes, it's like, you're probably not going to have too much for feelings for microscopes. Okay, so this is why I think I'm different, because most teachers are more mastery right there. And I'm a misfit and I don't care. And then so that's the teaching style. So that was pretty interesting to see the teaching style. And then the learning style, you see this one. I thought I was going to be one, and I actually ended up being another one. But this is why this is why I do things the way I do them because I don't like sitting still and listening. So for the learning style for adults, here's mine. It's pretty funny. I'm not, this is why I'm dying when I have to talk about data and when I have to deal with grading and Excel and spreadsheets, because that is not my personality at all. That is not me. So I am all the connections and ideas box. And with the ideas box, that one you can have them create a poem or, you know, do even an acrostic or come up with a metaphor or a simile for that box, the intuitive feeling. So that's what this Windows Notes is based on. And there's not very many people still watching, and thank you to the one person that is. I'm sure someone else came on, and I really don't care. Because I hope that this will help you, because my kids love it. So, like I said, connections, questions, facts, and feelings, and this works really well with science and social studies. I've used it for every single thing this year. As you can see, I've got the Constitution. I did it for westward expansion. I did this for Veterans Day, and I made it more personalized for some of the things. You can add specific questions if you want them to do certain facts. We watched a tribute for that one, so I wanted them to do feelings about the tribute. And then connections are going to be, you know, for this one, do you have any family members who are veterans? And then we did Ellis Island, like, did your family immigrate to America? And for the Constitution, I did the 5 W's, like tell me about the Constitution. And then I gave them specific questions. So you can keep it more open-ended or you can be specific. Thank you for watching, and I would love to hear about how you use Windows Notes, if you try them or if you try Alphaboxes, because I think it's really great to try things that are creative and out of the box, because your kids, that's why I use picture dictionaries, not boring study guides, because your kids don't want to fill out boring study guides. They don't want to fill out worksheets. They need to make connections to stuff by drawing pictures and, you know, reflecting on it with a sentence. So my mission, like I said, is to give tips that will help inspire your English language learners and your gifted learners. And I think both of those strategies that I talked about kind of work for both, and they work for all your kids. Thank you for watching. Bye-bye.